Customers touched banks and destroyed automated teller machines in Edo and Delta states earlier on Monday. However, the civil unrest has now spread to other places in Lagos, Rivers, Ogun, and Oyo states in the early hours of Friday as groups of aggrieved account holders and suspected hoodlums took to major streets to protest against the scarcity of naira across the country. Around 6 a.m. in Lagos, for instance, the protesters stormed Mile 12, Ketu, Ojota area, along Ikorodu Road, and Iyana Ipaja, and set bonfires. There has been growing resentment towards the cash crisis resulting from the currency redesign policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria. The tension had led to protesting customers setting fire on banks and destroying ATM machines in many places. Also, in an attempt to exchange their old currency notes for new ones, hundreds of people, or even thousands, have besieged central bank in many parts of the country. This is as a result of the directive by President Muhammadu Buhari regarding the currency note. In his national broadcast on Thursday, President Buhari had announced that the old 500 and 1,000 naira notes will no longer be considered legal tender, and directed Nigerians to take them to the CBN and designated locations. Furthermore, he instructed the CBN to reintroduce all 200 notes into circulation up till April 10th. Viewers, this is Daily Politics, and I am your host, Hamza Idris. Tonight on the program, we are joined by the Director, Strategic Communication of the People's Democratic Party Campaign Council, Chief Dele Momodu. He is also a veteran journalist and the publisher and Chief Executive Officer of Aviation Magazine. Welcome to the program, sir.
Good evening, and thank you for inviting me.
We are happy having you in our studio. Together, viewers, we will be discussing a variety of issues in the polity, not just the naira issue. We'll go on a short break, and when we return, the conversation commences. Don't go away.
That's great. It's good to see you.
Yes, Chief, once again, welcome to our studio.
Thank you.
Can we say Nigeria is on fire and there is no direction?
Well, Nigeria is not on fire, but some people are trying to set Nigeria on fire, but God will never allow them, because they are not going to send their own kids on the streets. It's the poor man's children that will be killed on the streets for what they know nothing about. So Nigeria is not going to be on fire. You and I must work tirelessly to make sure it doesn't happen.
But you can see the apprehension, people on the streets, aggrieved, people can't eat, while leaders are speaking strong language. Maybe we should hear one of it.
Stay calm and peaceful and support the lawful means being utilized to solve our problems. On behalf of the Kaduna State government, I wish to assure you that none of you would lose the money you have in old notes. Let no artificial or illegal deadline frighten you. Whether you live in towns, villages, or in our isolated rural communities, do not feel stampeded to deposit your old notes into the banks. Hold on to them. Continue to use them as legal tender as ordered by the Supreme Court of Nigeria. No deadline can render them worthless, ever. The law is on your side. The Central Bank of Nigeria Act 2007 in Section 20, subsection 3, and the Bills of Exchange Act both oblige the Central Bank of Nigeria to recognize your old notes and give you value in new notes whenever you bring them to the CBN, even in the next 100 years. Therefore, as your governor, I wish to assure you that the Kaduna State Government, in collaboration with elected legislators, our traditional institution, elected local government councils, markets and traders associations, and so on, will help you collect, record, document, collect, and deliver all your old notes to the Kaduna branch of the Central Bank on your behalf into the new ones immediately after the elections.
Chief, that was Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai, but he isn't alone in this. Governor Badaru of Jigawa, Ganduje of Kano, we also have the Governor of Ogun State. They have all said that the citizens should continue collecting the old Naira notes. And you heard what he said, artificial or illegal deadline.
You see, I respect Governor Nasir El-Rufai a lot. When I contested the presidential race in 2011,
yes,
I had even proposed to him. I wanted him to be my running mate.
Oh,
in 2011. That's how much
his intellect.
Correct. I started my life as a scholar before veering into journalism. So when I see men of sharp intellect, I respect them. But since he became governor, I've been seeing a different kind of person. I mean, why would a governor who is a prominent member of APC, who used to physically grovel in front of the president, you see him go down.
Yeah.
Hero worshiping the president. But just because they feel the president is on his way out of power. See life. What they are doing now, none of them would have done it in 2015, in 2019, but because they know that a few months to the exit of the president, he has virtually become a lame dog. Forgetting that they too have become lame dogs, because most of them are also on their way out. Now, what is the problem? They change the currency, which is the right of the government
to do.
It is the right of the government.
Okay.
Okay? Then, the governors who never said a word when Nigerians were being killed all over Nigeria, who did not go to any Supreme Court to go and fight over the level of poverty in our country, then what is so special about this currency issue? But we all know the answer. The answer is simple.
What is it?
Politicians are looking for money with which to buy the electorate. Anybody can challenge me on it. That is the crux of the matter. They are looking for money. And it affects everybody. I'm a politician.
Is this why El-Rufai said he will collect the money on behalf
That's why he said he will collect it on behalf, and in the next 100 years. Who amongst us will be alive in 100 years? It's what we call hyperbole in literature. Exaggeration. He's exaggerating his own importance. He's being hyperbolic. You cannot do anything. Nobody will even collect the money from you. Even the Supreme Court that gave the order. The Supreme Court, if you go there today, I read somewhere that if you want to file a case in the Supreme Court, they will not even accept the whole currency from you.
Oh.
So it's an exercise in futility.
But the governors, all the governors I listed, they said they are obeying the Supreme Court judgment, believing that, or order, believing that Buhari actually violated.
But do you know that President Buhari has also cleverly obeyed the Supreme Court? He's not saying you can't spend money. He said what we have is 200 naira notes, so why are you fighting again? They are not saying, they understand, they are not saying don't spend all money, but they are saying the denomination we have is 200. So where are they? And if they say they are fighting for the masses don't spend 1,000, they don't spend 500. They spend the little they can get, 10 naira, 20 naira, 50 naira,
So you also share the school of thought that if the lower denominations are made available,
yeah, that's for the people, that's for the poor people. So let them make it available. Look, from the beginning.
Yes.
Our principal, our candidate, Atiku Abubakar, he made a broadcast. He said, "Look, the people are suffering. Please reconsider." Because they were going to say, no, they cannot change the date is fixed and everything. But he came out, he pleaded with them, and he didn't plead for himself. He pleaded on behalf of Nigerians. Unlike the APC candidate, that Shiwaju, who announced in Abeokuta that this thing targets me. Why did he say so?
Don't you think it also targets your candidate?
That's what I'm saying, that my candidate is affected by the cash crumb. But he's not complaining because he's a law-abiding citizen. It's only those who have criminal intention who are complaining. Anybody who is complaining today does not love Nigeria.
But what about the poor masses that are unable to access even the 200 notes, even though
that's what we are saying. And that's why President Buhari in his broadcast yesterday said and instructed CBN, please make the old 200 naira note available. Of course, it will take a couple of days. It's not going to happen by magic. But these guys are hell-bent on this, their 1,500. I don't know what were they looking at for 3 months?
Well, now who should the citizen obey?
Oh, the citizen should obey.
Because the governor said artificial or illegal deadline. Now, the citizens, should they obey their governors or the president?
I say, for me, I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah.
I'm a journalist. But I have my senses intact. The president has done the right thing. Now, he no longer says, don't collect old money. He says, collect it, but you can only collect 200. What's wrong with that? If that is what is available, so
collect it and do your business.
If I get 200 today, I'll put it in my pocket. And let me tell you, we all like to cite abroad, America, Europe, this. When we go there, we obey law and order.
And they don't have the higher denomination.
No, they still spend their coins. But we don't want to change. The non-Nigerian wants to suffer. Everything must be perfect. So if it's not perfect, if it's not convenient for me, then there must be breakdown of law and order. No, it's wrong. I expect a responsible governor to appeal to his people that, look, this suffering, even if he believes truly that they are going to win, then so why is he in a hurry? 1 week is here now. Why don't you wait for 1 week? So when you win, then you can spend your largesse as you want.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chief. We'll go on a short break. Viewers, don't go away. We'll be back shortly.
This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Sanin madafin shugabanci na da inganci wajen gina kowace irin ingantacciyar demokaradiyya. Maza 'yan Najeriya ku dunkule ku cure ku zabi Bola Ahmed Tinubu a matsayin shugaban kasa da kuma Kashim Shettima a matsayin mataimakin sa. A karkashin jam'iyyar APC a shekara ta 2023 mutum ne jajirtacce, tabbas yana da tasiri a fagen siyasar Najeriya. A cikin kundin manufofin sa zai inganta tsaro, bangaren noma, faɗaɗa hanyoyin tattalin arziki da kuma kasuwanci. Hanyoyin arzikin mu a kuntace suke a sakamakon rashin rarraba wutar lantarki yadda ya kamata. Bola Ahmed Tinubu zai saisaita kudirinsa wajen samar da isasshen wutar lantarki a Najeriya. Idan 'yan Najeriya suka zabe shi, zai gudanar da ayyuka bangarori da dama na ci gaba kamar bangaren sufuri, ilimi da kuma inganta tsaro, kasuwanci da kuma gyara bangaren shari'a. To 'yan Najeriya ba ku da zabi illa zaben Bola Ahmed Tinubu a matsayin shugaban kasar Najeriya na gaba.
Wannan sako ne daga sashen tsare-tsare da sadarwa na kwamitin yakin neman zaben shugaban kasa na jam'iyyar APC.
Yes, welcome back. Chief, Governor Ganduje, he said that what is happening is actually at truncating the transition to another democratically elected government. He was actually amplifying what Erufai said. Do you subscribe to what they are saying?
I am so disappointed. These are supposed to be responsible adults who should teach our young ones about how to be truthful about life. Simple truth is that the president and his cabinet took a decision. That decision may not be too comfortable for all of us.
Okay.
But to now say is an attempt to truncate. As a matter of fact, the theory now is that they are the ones who are wishing that the election would not take place because they are not ready. They are not. It's obvious that they are not ready. Tinubu has been lamenting endlessly about the election, that they are targeting him. Even if there is no fuel, he will win. Even if there is no this, he will win. So, if you are so sure of winning, then stop whining. You say you will win, fine. Look, these governors, I'm sure again, they are taking the taciturnity of the president. You know, he's a man of few words. So they are taking it for granted that he is weak. I can tell you, anybody who knows the military, they can keep quiet, but they are very serious. I've watched the president over time, and I know that he's a man, when he has made up his mind,
you can't turn him.
No way. So their strategy also, they are being clever by half, is to studiously alienate themselves, detach themselves from the government of Buhari. And I like what happened today. The Minister of Information,
Lai
Mohammed, told them that Tinubu cannot detach himself from the ATR rule of President Buhari.
But he isn't the minister or anything.
It doesn't matter. He is a key, that's why they call him national leader. He was a regional leader in Lagos, but he became a national leader because now he is one of the leaders of APC. And he even said it openly that he will continue the legacy of Buhari. So whatever legacy Buhari is leaving, Tinubu has already inherited it. So if he wants to win, he should campaign based on what APC has done.
Whether it's positive or negative?
Whether it's positive or negative, he cannot go anywhere. That's what Lai Mohammed told him today, that you are running nowhere. You and Buhari are Siamese twins. You had access to him. So if you felt he was not performing, so why didn't he go in to go and tell him that he's not performing and then give him ideas about why he feels he's not performing? So what they are doing, trust me, I've seen a couple of videos this evening where they are trying to distance themselves. If I even said by the Buhari that they don't have brain, they don't have this. I don't know if you saw that video. He was saying all sorts about the president because he feels if he campaigns based on the achievement or non-achievement of APC, he will get into trouble.
But it appears some of you are happy with what is happening of sorts.
No.
Maybe the infighting.
No,
in
why would I be happy that some people don't want election to take place? We want election to take place next week.
You think the infighting is truncated?
That is the whole idea. The idea is that if I can't get it, let no one get it.
Why are PDP governors reluctant to join some of the calls by the APC?
No, because they can see that it's reckless and irresponsible. It is not our party policy. We are not the one in government. We are not the one in power. So why should we cry louder than the bereaved? So let APC go and bury their dead.
Wow. Earlier today, Tinubu issued a statement asking friendly governors, it's the first time I'm hearing this, friendly governors to also join the crusade of sorts by Erupai, Badaru, Ganduje, and other governors.
The last time I checked, there is only one president in Nigeria, and that's Muhammadu Buhari. We cannot have two presidents. You see, I know some of these guys very well. I come from the same background with them. And I know that they enjoy the arrogance of power. You see, people must learn from history. Okay? Anybody who wants to be president of Nigeria must be prepared to convince every Nigerian. When it is convenient for Tinubu, he goes to the north. He will visit them in the north and say, I'm a friend of the north. He's actually relying totally on the north to make him president. The same north you are antagonizing. Then you now go back to Yoruba land and say, Emiloko, it is our turn. I tell people, the Hausa Fulani may not be outspoken like us, but they're not stupid.
Even though they also voice out. We had some people here who came and actually
they are seeing everything. They know the gimmicks more than most of us do. Okay? So all these tantrums, because you want to be president, no. Spend your energy and your resources on convincing Nigerians. You cannot eat your cake and have it. You cannot hate a people. I tell people every time when they say, it's the turn of Yoruba, it's the turn of Igbo. Yes, it might be your turn, but are you going to be president of Igbo land? Are you going to be president of Yoruba land? No, you are going to be president of Nigeria. So you better carry every Nigerian along. Yes. If you don't do that, you are going nowhere.
We had Professor Usman Yusuf yesterday in the studio. He spoke along this line, and nothing like regionalism or whatever. We also had Dr. Hakim Baba Ahmed and quite a number of people who spoke against using some of these fault lines to score cheap political goal. But what will you say? Because you brought a new perspective to this issue of truncating democracy, interim government. You know, initially, yes, Tinubu said something in the works along that line. Now the governor said it, but you are now saying it is these people who made the first cry that are actually working towards that. But a few days ago, there was this report that it was your candidate who actually wanted to truncate.
How can somebody who has been running the presidential race for 30 years, as a journalist, I'm looking forward to the day that Atiku Abubakar will be sworn in. It will be a sweet story to write, to tell to our younger ones about perseverance. I first saw Atiku Abubakar for the first time in my life in 1993 in Jos during the SDP convention where I stepped down for Chief MK Abiola. That's when I saw the gentleman that he is. And he's still the same thing today. He's never a desperado. You can see that these are desperate politicians running all over the places. Atiku, have you ever heard him insult anybody? No. He's a focused man. He's a principled man. They attack him, they abuse him. He remains unruffled. So, I saw him 30 years ago. And I was so impressed that I stepped down. He was supposed to be the running mate to Abiola. They didn't pick him. He left quietly. Unlike what we have today. You can see Wike, since he lost our primary, he has not stopped crying till today.
Yes, and we are going to him.
He has remained inconsolable. We have pleaded with him. We've spoken to him. There's nothing we've not done just because this man lost election. But look at what happened to Atiku. He's a child of destiny, and that's why I believe he's going to be president this year, finally. Let me quickly tell you. You remember he contested to be governor of his home state.
Adamawa.
And he won. But he didn't take power before they invited him to be vice president. The same vice president that eluded him with Abiola, he eventually got it
later
on a platter. Why? Because he's a child of destiny. Power can only be given to you by God, and it can only be taken away from you by God. So those who think, who arrogate all the powers of life and death to themselves, they are just wasting their time.
But Chief, there is this allegation that Atiku and all of you supporting him have a deal somewhere that the so-called cabal actually working for him.
How can the cabal work for you? Atiku is not a member of APC. I'm not a member of APC. We're in PDP. And don't you see us criticize APC every day? We issue statements against them. They are incompetent.
Someone say it's a gimmick. That really,
so
what is happening will end up benefiting Atiku.
No, what did you expect? For Atiku to win, he must benefit from the crisis in APC. That's what happens all over the world.
You are giving it different translations.
Yeah, no, but that's what happens in America. You will see that I love Jimmy Carter. But Jimmy Carter did only one time. Why? Because there was crisis. How did Donald Trump become American president? Because he was able to take out Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
So the mission of Atiku, and no, Atiku is nobody's mate. There is nobody in this race who is Atiku's mate. Atiku is the most experienced, is the most cosmopolitan, is the most detribalized, he is ready from day one. All the others, they have not had that level of experience and exposure at the highest level.
But when we invite their spokespersons, they also reel out some of these credentials. They said Tinubu, for instance,
in Lagos,
has been working for this project over 40 years.
Which project over 40 years?
To become president.
No, all I know is that he's worked in Lagos. He's never worked. That is why today, even in the race, he's the only one without a base. Tinubu does not have a solid base. He's relying entirely on the north to make him president. In the southwest, where he comes from, you would expect that he will control Lagos 80%, 90%, control Ogun 80%, 90%, Oyo, Osun, Ekiti, Ondo. It is impossible. In Lagos, you'll be shocked. Lagos will be divided into three: Tinubu, Atiku, Obi. Lagos, where he comes from, where he's expected to have 100% if possible. He can't get it. Once you cross the long bridge from Lagos into Ogun State, it's going to split it between Atiku and Tinubu. When you get to Oyo, it will be Tinubu and Atiku. When you get to Osun, it will be Atiku and Tinubu. If you go to the southeast, Tinubu is nowhere to be found.
Anyway, in the southwest, how did you arrive at that? Because just last week, leadership of Labour Party across all the states in the southwest paid allegiance and promised to work for Tinubu.
And that's Labour Party. You see, the popularity of a presidential candidate, that is why you will see the polls will tell you Obi is doing well. The Obi is not doing well nationally. But Obi does well wherever there is a preponderance of Igbo people. You know, they are very itinerant, very ambitious, very brilliant, very audacious. So they are able to go into any community. You go to Kano, you go to Jiga, anywhere you go, you find Igbo people, they are doing their business. Okay? So in Lagos, the Igbo population in Lagos, if care is not taken, Tinubu might not even get more than 30% in Lagos.
What?
You'll be shocked. That is why
shall I take this to the bank?
Take it to the bank. That's why anytime there is election, you will see that they always frustrate the Igbo people. They disenfranchise them. They don't allow them to participate.
Is this an allegation, or you think
it's happened? You can go,
Oba of Lagos just
go on YouTube. There are videos of where you remember even when the Oba said they will flush them into the lagoon.
But just yesterday he said the allegation that he didn't host Obi wasn't true, wasn't correct.
No, I don't know anything about that. The Oba is my father. He's someone that he loves me and I love him. But when it comes to Tinubu, we all know where it belongs, and it is his right.
Were you actually jittery when the LP leadership now paid allegiance?
At all. I started my journey in Labour Party.
I know, and I'm going to that.
2010-11.
Yes, because you wanted to contest for the presidency on that level before you moved to...
And then they cleverly pushed me out. If Labour at that time had allowed me the way I was going to develop the party, maybe today there will be a more formidable force. One, I wanted Labour to hook up seriously with the Nigerian Labour Congress.
Not like what we're having.
Not like what we are having.
Okay, you will explain this to us when we come back from break. Thank you. Viewers, don't go away. We take another break now.
Haruna, Bisi, Akman, Unduka, how will I want to do on election day?
On election day, I go take my PVC. When I reach where I vote to, I broom I go put my hand for Tinubu. On election day, I go take my PVC. When I reach where I vote to, I broom I go put my hand for Tinubu.
People of Nigeria, make we all come out on election day and vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as president. Make Nigeria for better. Make you put your hand for APC, the party where show broom. Not forget now broom you go put your hand in. Bam!
On election day, I go take my PVC. When I reach where I vote to, I broom I go put my hand for Tinubu.
documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Daily Politics on Trust TV. Do well to follow us across all our social platforms on Facebook, Twitter, and watch us live on YouTube. I still have Chief Dele Momodu in the studio. He's the Director of Strategic Communications of the People's Democratic Party Presidential Campaign Organization. Yeah, I don't want us to completely dismiss the infight in APC, going by what happened in 1993. You were among those who actually went on exile when the mandate of Chief MKO Abiola was truncated of sort. Now, we have started seeing some of these pointers. So how can we disabuse the minds of Nigerians that elections will hold? I'm asking you this before we move to the chances of your party.
Well, for some reason, I happen to trust President Muhammadu Buhari on this. Okay. That he is very ready and determined to hand over government. I trust him. You see, as you get older in life, you begin to get overtly optimistic. As a young man, I was a pessimist. But I've learned that there are certain things that you must allow to happen. As you get older, you begin to know God more. So I'm looking at President Buhari. Here was a man who, before 2015, never thought he could be president again. Here was a man who, after 2015, and he won the election, he fell so sick. Everybody almost gave up on him. And God gave him a second life. What more does he want? So I believe he is looking for a legacy. He might not be able to complete Lagos-Ibadan Expressway in 8 years. But he wants to leave a legacy of free and fair election. Because that's what brought him to power. To whom much is given, much is expected. So I believe the election will take place. I believe that Atiku Abubakar will win the election, going by the numbers.
And you people will not go on exile?
No, why should I go on exile? Whoever is president, we pass that stage. We're not in a military regime. And that's one of the things that will work against the APC this time. Even Buhari, that we expected to be dictatorial, Buhari has been quite friendly to a lot of people. He may have all his shortcomings, as we all know, but Buhari is a much calmer Buhari than the Buhari who was in the khaki uniform. So, but for us to now have civilians behaving like they are dictators, when they imagine if these guys grab power, what they would do with it.
Well, maybe they are not comfortable with his body language. You said he is quiet. Going by certain things happening, Chief, INEC said they are yet to get cash for logistics.
But I also read where Emefiele reassured INEC that cash will not be a problem. So why don't we let them do their job?
In 6 days? How will they get to Kalabalge in Borno? How will they get to, the hinterland, across the rivers in the Bayelsa and all that? Because they need canoes, they need, donkeys and all that to take. And there must be logistics for this.
Trust me, don't forget that Central Bank is not situated or located in Abuja alone. They are spread across the nation. They must have a way they deal with their logistics. I don't have the facts. But I'm resting my confidence on faith. I believe that the election we hold and those who are hoping the election will not hold because they are not ready for the election, or because they know that they cannot win the election, no presidential candidate can win election. That's why Obi and Tinubu cannot win the election. Historically, whenever you have two strong southern candidates, the mainstream northern candidate will always win.
Wow.
1979, Shehu Shagari, Awolowo in the southwest, Shehu Shagari in the northwest, Awolowo in the southwest, Azikiwe in the southeast. It's the same scenario. Obi is the new Azikiwe. Tinubu, I'm sure, sees himself as the new Awolowo. And of course, Atiku Abubakar is the new Shagari of that time.
Well, there was an article by Mahmoud Jega, a spokesperson like you, to Tinubu, who faulted this formula, said the arithmetic is really not correct this time around.
No, why is it not correct?
Yeah, because...
So tell me why the arithmetic... I was the first person to write In Search of Mathematicians in 2014. I wrote about how Buhari was going to defeat an incumbent president.
And it happened.
It happened. The first time I ever spoke to the current Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, was after he read... I was in Ghana that day. He read my article on the back page of This Day. Yeah. He and Honorable Farouk, and they called me and said they were reading something. They were in the car, one was reading it together, and they called me. They were so excited. They said, what? This is brilliant. I've done the same arithmetic. Trust me, it cannot fail.
Okay, now for Southeast and Southwest, for it, you have Peter Obi in Southeast. Many are giving him that area. Now, South-South, you have serious problem.
No.
In Wike.
No.
Wike, held Tinubu like this the other day, and he said he's the right man for the position. So how are you going to reconcile this?
Trust me.
Okay.
I know Wike very well. He's a man that I respect as Mr. Project. But he has a problem. His problem is anger management, which has led him into fighting practically all his former supporters. All his big supporters have left him. I worked with Wike. I was rebranding Wike for almost the last 2 years. I lived more with Wike in Port Harcourt than with my wife in Lagos.
Wow.
So I know him very well. Anger management. I wrote him as far back as March last year that I suspect. I wrote him a letter.
All right, okay.
And I copied Chief Michael Zekome SAN. I copied the immediate past Minister of Justice and Attorney General Mohamed Aduke SAN. They have copies of that letter as far back as March 30th last year. I suspected that the rebranding this man is doing is towards a purpose. And I knew, of course, he cannot be governor again. And it didn't look to me like somebody who wanted to be a senator. I knew so he must be behind the presidential, which is his ambition. And I told him that anybody who wants to be the president of Nigeria must have the temper and temperament of carrying everybody along. But here you are, today you are fighting the North. You go to court against matters of VAT.
You listed.
I listed everything that can go against him. And I pleaded with him that I cannot ask you not to run. But if indeed you want to run and you say you are fighting for the South, you cannot be the sole beneficiary. If he was fighting for the South and he supported maybe a Tinubu or an Obi, it would be a different matter. But he wanted to be. So that was when they started sacking people like Prince Uche Secondus, our former chairman, because he was positioning himself that he and Secondus coming from the same place will work against him and all that. So a lot of people who are saying Atiku, or Yochayu, it's not their fault. He was the one maneuvering, meandering, manipulating until he boxed himself into a corner. And after that...
So you believe that he's not in a corner?
Oh, he's in a tight corner. There's nothing in Rivers. Atiku will win Rivers. I can guarantee.
You could not even hold your campaign there.
Because Atiku will be protected by his security. But what of the ordinary man? If they throw just one grenade, we all know how volatile Rivers can be. But for the love of the people of Rivers, Atiku chose to sacrifice his rally. Life is not all about politics. He's not a desperate politician. So we decided to move away.
From rivers?
No, from trouble.
All right, thank you. We'll
not from rivers. We will never abandon the people of rivers. No, never.
Okay, fine. Viewers, don't go away. We are still going for another break.
Kai, my people, reason this thing now.
When PDP day,
our country be safe. Naira strong, economy they grow. Fuel, 7 naira, rice, 8,000.
Our life in better. Oh.
When change people come, no work, no food, economy forgotten. Naija borrow, battery foot down, Japa left and right, Sapa up and down.
No need to gamble.
Save choice.
PDP don't come.
Save choice.
Recover Naija.
Save choice.
We don't tire to suffer.
Save choice.
Experience mind.
Save choice.
We don't want experiment.
Save choice.
Get them right.
Save choice.
This time our life. Oh.
Save choice.
Recover Nigeria.
Save choice.
Atiku na the man. Oh.
Save choice.
Atiku Adokowa.
Save choice.
Na the only choice. Oh.
Save choice.
Vote the safe choice to recover Nigeria.
PDP.
Power to the people. Now PDP Presidential Campaign Council sponsored this message.
Yes, Chief, you say you didn't forsake River State, but the G5 is like they have all taken a position now. For instance, Benue State Governor, he's for Obi, he has said it practically. And when Tinubu visited Oyo, we had Makinde saying he monitored the primaries of APC and how Tinubu emerged, and they are aligning themselves to equity, making reference to moving power to the south. So most likely you have lost out in Oyo also. In
Oyo, where his own supporters, anytime you mention Nigeria, they will reply you with, say, Atiku. Look, Oyo, Osun are in the pocket.
Osun?
Of PDP.
Recently we had the judgment of the...
The judgment has nothing to do with the popularity of the governor. The governor won an election fair and square. Don't forget that the last time too, when the present governor took the former governor to the tribunal, he won, but the governor was able to retrieve. So is history repeating itself? I'm sure in the appeal court.
But what gives you the courage that you will get Oyo? Because it's like the governor appealed to the sentiment of the people who want power shift to the south.
What is the sentiment? Equity. What equity? When Atiku actually told PDP, if you are zoning to the south, then zone to the part of the south that have not had power. Just the same way the northeast is saying, we have not had power since the time of Tafawa Balewa. It's the same scenario. And Wike, because of his own personal ambition, engineered his friends, his governor friends, these same G5 people, to come into PDP and throw away our zoning formula.
Or for his greed.
That's what happened. Atiku was ready to step down if power was zoned to the southeast. Quote me on that.
Atiku?
Yes, please, was ready that if... So, who decided that we should throw it open? Was it not the same Governor Autumn? Who sat on the panel that said, I contested in that race. The day I bought my form, I told them, I said, why are you asking me to come and pay 40 million naira for a form if you will not tell us where power is being zoned to? They didn't tell us. Because of why? Because of one man, Wike. Everything was manipulated in his favor.
Yeah.
Okay? The South-South already had a president in Dr. Goodluck Jonathan. Wike and Jonathan are neighbors in Bayelsa. The man had been in power for 5 years. Jonathan was in power for 5 years. So why is it now the turn of the South-South again? Is that not curious? But they thought it was all about money. And Atiku, the grand master of politics in Nigeria, knew his game. He's a master of the game.
So you think they will not make any serious impact? But
No.
Okay.
In the same way they are treating Buhari now as a lame dog, it's
Yeah.
the same way he too has become a lame dog.
Okay, now we hosted Kenneth Okonkwo here of the Labour Party, he's one of the spokespersons. He said that Obasanjo said Atiku should not be trusted with power because of his propensity for corruption and all that. Do you have any answer to that?
I have the answer.
A verdict from his former boss.
I have the answer.
Okay.
You see, because a lot of Nigerians always find it difficult to do research. I studied in a university, the then University of Ife, where I did logic as a young man. The same Obasanjo endorsed Atiku Abubakar in 2019. The videos are there where he said when you talk about the economy, when you talk about this, when you talk about that, nobody refers to that. Look, there is a saying in Yoruba that in the days of a fight, anybody can say anything. It's because they had misunderstanding. It's like husband and wife. Even your wife at home sometimes will tell you, you've never left money for soup in this house.
Yeah.
Why? Because you are quarreling at that time. It's the same thing. So when it was convenient for Obasanjo to abuse Atiku, he did. And when it was convenient to endorse him because he was fighting Buhari, he endorsed him. Now that he has decided to support Obi, so
will that make any impact on
No.
Or give advantage
you can see that Atiku is the only statesman right now on the world stage. He's the one who has been to America, he has been to the State Department, he has been able to explain his programs, his dreams, his vision to the international community. He's been to England, he's met with the British government. I've not seen Tinubu meet with anybody. He has not been to America to talk to anybody. You see, because you are not just going to govern over Nigeria, you are going to govern over the entire world. The investments that you want in Nigeria will come from abroad. So if you have a presidential candidate who is not even able to present, he went to Chatham House, he could not even present his agenda. He had to...
But he said that is how he governed Lagos, allowing people to speak.
Okay.
So that they will be held to account collectively. Finally, Chief, what are your chances in Northwest and then Northeast, where the vice presidential candidate of the in 30 seconds, please?
I mean, I'm sure you know more than I do that the Northeast has been looking for a president almost forever, since around 1966. They have been looking for their own president, and now he's a Fulani man, and of course, you know the influence of the Hausa Fulani in the Northwest. Unfortunately for Tinubu, he made a tactical error. Okay. By not picking someone from the Northwest. You went to pick number 2 from where they already have number 1. So who is going to now leave number 1 and pick number 2?
All right.
Thank you very much,
Chief. Chief Delememodu, Director of Strategic Communications, PDP Presidential Campaign Organization. We thank you for coming.
Thank you, sir.
We hope to have you again.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And that's a wrap on today's program. Viewers, do well to collect your permanent voter's card and make a commitment to vote in the forthcoming election to guarantee a better future for all of us. Thanks for watching, and do join us again. I'm Hamza Idris.